The golden years of life bring a unique opportunity for spiritual reflection, growth, and deepening one's relationship with God. With decades of experiences, joys, trials, and lessons, there comes a wisdom that allows for a more profound understanding of faith. Yet, in the busyness of life or the solitude that sometimes accompanies aging, it's easy to feel distant from God. Strengthening your spiritual connection isn't about grand gestures. It's about small, daily acts of faith that bring peace, clarity, and a closer walk with God. The morning sunlight streams through the window, illuminating the pages of an open Bible resting on the wooden table. The words, once familiar, now seem to carry a deeper meaning. In the quiet of the early hours, with a steaming cup of coffee beside the book, there is a sacred stillness, a perfect moment to reconnect with God. Life, with all its unpredictable twists and turns, has led to this moment. The struggles of youth, the responsibilities of adulthood, the hard-won battles, and the quiet victories have shaped a person into who they are today. And now, with the distractions of a busy career behind them, there is more space to listen, to reflect, to truly hear the voice of God. Prayer is no longer just a ritual, but a conversation. It's a quiet whisper in the morning before the world awakens, a sigh of gratitude in the middle of the day, a moment of surrender before drifting off to sleep. It doesn't require the perfect words, nor does it demand a strict schedule. It is fluid, ever-present, like a stream that never ceases to flow. Some days, prayer comes easily, spilling from the lips without hesitation. Other days, it is silent, felt only in the depths of the heart. Yet, in both, God listens. Outside, the world moves at its usual frantic pace. People rush from place to place, caught in the never-ending cycle of obligations and distractions. But here, in the stillness of this new stage of life, there is a realization that everything has its season. The things that once seemed so urgent, the need to achieve, to prove oneself, to chase after recognition, now seem distant, like a dream from another lifetime. What matters now is something far greater, the deep and abiding presence of God. The Bible, a book that has been read countless times over the years, feels different now. Verses that once seemed like simple words on a page now speak directly to the soul. The story of Abraham and his unwavering faith in the unknown, the perseverance of Job in the face of suffering, the compassion of Christ for the broken and weary, all of it takes on a richness that can only be fully understood after living through the highs and lows of life. Each passage is no longer just a lesson, but a reflection of personal experience. In the past, faith might have been practiced out of habit, going to church, saying grace before meals, bowing one's head in prayer because that was what was taught. But now, faith is something more. It is woven into the fabric of every day, shaping thoughts, actions, and the way life is approached. It is the quiet assurance that no matter what happens, God is there, guiding each step, just as He has done all along. Community becomes more important than ever. The gathering of fellow believers, whether in a small Bible study, a prayer group, or the familiar pews of a church, brings warmth and belonging. There is something profoundly comforting about worshiping with others, about lifting voices in unison, about sharing testimonies of God's faithfulness. It is a reminder that faith is not meant to be walked alone. Even for those who may not be able to attend services in person, technology has made it possible to stay connected. Live-streamed church services, online devotionals, and messages of encouragement from pastors and fellow believers. There is a growing desire to serve others, to give back, to pour love into the world in whatever way possible. Some volunteer at shelters, feeding the hungry and providing warmth to the homeless. Others mentor younger generations, sharing the wisdom and experiences that have shaped them. Some write letters to those who are lonely, offering words of encouragement and reminders of God's love. These acts of service are not just about doing good deeds, but about living out faith in tangible ways, about reflecting the love of Christ in everyday actions. There are moments of struggle, of course. Aging comes with its challenges, aches and pains that weren't there before, the loss of loved ones, the uncertainty of what the future holds. There are days when the body feels weaker, when the mind is clouded with worries. But faith is what carries one through. It is the deep understanding that even in hardship, God has a plan. It is the trust that He is in control, that He has never abandoned His people and never will. Gratitude takes root in the heart in a way it never did before. The simple things, a sunrise, the laughter of grandchildren, the melody of a favorite hymn, the feel of a cool breeze on a summer evening, become sources of profound joy. There is a quiet recognition that life itself is a gift, that every breath is an opportunity to love, to serve, to worship. The worries of the past no longer hold the same power they once did. Instead, there is a deep sense of peace, an acceptance that God has written the story of this life, and He is still holding the pen. Sitting in a rocking chair, watching the sky fade into a canvas of pink and gold, there is an overwhelming sense of contentment. The mind drifts back to memories, some joyful, some painful, but through them all, one thing remains clear: God has been present every step of the way. He was there in the laughter of childhood, in the ambitions of youth, in the trials of middle age. And He is here now, in the quiet of these later years, just as faithful as He has always been. Strengthening a relationship with God is not about age. It is not about how many years have passed or how many remain. It is about opening one's heart, about seeking Him in the ordinary moments, about trusting that His love is as constant as the rising sun. It is never too late to draw closer, never too late to deepen that connection, never too late to embrace the fullness of faith. There is something profoundly beautiful about the later years of life, a season where reflection meets wisdom, and faith takes on a new depth. The hurried pace of earlier decades begins to slow, making room for contemplation, appreciation, and a renewed focus on what truly matters. The relationship with God, once perhaps entangled with the obligations of daily life, now has the space to grow in a way that feels richer, deeper, and more intimate than ever before. This is a time of rediscovery, a season to strengthen the spiritual foundation that has carried you through life's ups and downs. It's no longer about merely knowing God exists, but about experiencing Him fully, in every breath, in every moment, and in every quiet whisper of the soul. The distractions of the world lose their grip, and what remains is a heart more attuned to divine presence, more open to the mysteries of faith, and more eager to embrace the journey ahead with trust and devotion. There is a power in learning new ways to connect with God, even in the later years. Perhaps before, faith was structured around Sunday services and familiar routines, but now, there is an invitation to go deeper. There is an opportunity to explore different ways of worship, through music, through writing, through quiet meditation, or through walking in nature and marveling at His creation. Each person's relationship with God is unique, and this season of life offers the freedom to discover new expressions of faith that resonate on a personal level. One of the greatest joys of growing older in faith is the ability to share wisdom with younger generations. The lessons learned over the years, about resilience, about trust, about God's timing, become invaluable gifts to those still finding their way. Whether it's through mentoring, storytelling, or simply leading by example, the faith that has been cultivated over a lifetime can serve as a beacon of light for those still walking through uncertainty. The simple act of encouraging a younger friend, guiding a grandchild in prayer, or sharing personal testimonies can plant seeds that grow long after you are gone. Forgiveness takes on a different weight in these years as well. The grievances of the past no longer seem as important as they once did. The heart, weathered by time and experience, begins to understand that carrying old wounds is a burden that steals joy from the present. This is a time to release bitterness, to let go of resentment, and to find peace in the knowledge that God's grace is greater than any pain endured. Reconciling with family, extending grace to old friends, and even forgiving oneself for past mistakes are all ways to grow spiritually and walk in greater freedom. Simplicity becomes a gift rather than a loss. While the earlier years may have been about accumulation of wealth, possessions, titles, or status, this season is about shedding what is unnecessary and embracing the fullness of what remains. There is joy in the simple pleasures, the laughter of loved ones, the warmth of the sun on your face, the peacefulness of a quiet morning spent in prayer. The realization dawns that fulfillment was never in material things, but in the presence of God and the love shared with others. More than ever, faith becomes a source of strength in times of physical weakness. The body may not move as quickly as it once did, and energy may wane, but the spirit is alive and thriving. The Bible reminds us that though the outer self may waste away, the inner self is being renewed day by day. This truth becomes evident as faith grows stronger even when physical strength diminishes. It is a reminder that what is eternal is far more important than what is temporary. This stage of life also presents an opportunity to prepare for the future, not just in practical ways, but in a spiritual sense. It is a time to leave behind a legacy of faith, to write down thoughts and prayers for future generations, to ensure that those who follow will have something to hold on to when they need guidance. Writing letters to children and grandchildren, recording stories of God's faithfulness, and sharing the scriptures that have been most impactful can serve as a lasting testimony of a life well lived in faith. Above all, there is a profound peace that comes from knowing that the best is yet to come. The promise of eternity with God becomes more real with each passing year, not as something to fear, but as something to anticipate with hope. The assurance of His presence, both in this life and the next, becomes the anchor that holds everything together. Each day is lived with a quiet confidence that nothing, not age, not loss, not even death, can separate us from the love of God. The journey of faith is never truly finished. It continues to unfold, revealing new depths, new lessons, and new joys along the way. In these later years, there is still so much to discover, still so much to experience in God's presence. With an open heart and a willing spirit, the relationship with Him will continue to grow, bringing peace, purpose, and a deeper love that only time and faith can cultivate.